Hi, and welcome to Spiritual Connection. I'm your host, Katie Augustin, and I'm really happy that you're with us tonight. You know, one of my core values is connection, and it shows up in many areas of my life. And that was one reason I wanted to have this show, so we could all connect with each other, as well as fully connect with our spiritual natures. So the show will feature interviews and discussions with a variety of people in our community and beyond. And we will talk about their spiritual journeys, as well as discover and learn about the services they offer and other methods and tools to encourage and support you in your journey. So thank you for being with us tonight. So my guest this evening is Greg Kirk. And I recently met Greg, and we connected over many things. And I found out he's originally from Philadelphia, and he's been practicing Reiki, human tuning, past life regression, and remote energy healing for almost 2 decades. Mm-hmm. So welcome to the show, Greg.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
We're happy to have you. So the other thing about Greg is he suffered from Lyme disease for over 15 years. And that's really one of the things that we want to discuss tonight. So why don't you tell us about your experience with that?
Okay. Well, as you mentioned, I'm originally from the Philadelphia area. So I had a career as a journalist, a musician. I got signed to a record label early in the late 90s, and moved up here for a job into the Connecticut area. And within a few years, kind of got the Connecticut rite of passage. I got bitten by a tick. Actually, I never saw the tick, never got the bullseye rash, never got any of the classic things that one typically gets. So consequently, I went for more than 2 years being undiagnosed. My symptoms weren't, Lyme symptoms can mimic a lot, like 300 different diseases, but mine were not even typical for that. Mine were based around eating, so I would eat a meal and just have to go take a nap or feel just really spacey. And so I went for 2 years, going from doctor to doctor, and finally getting diagnosed. But at that point, I was pretty sick.
Wow.
And I did the typical thing. I took antibiotics for a long period of time and went for various doctors. And that's actually when my journey got really hard.
Yeah.
I did antibiotics for 7 years and almost died from several of the treatments.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So during that period of time, I really, my spiritual connection started to begin.
Yeah.
So, a lot of healers and a lot of other people I talk to, face adversity and then something comes out of it. And I've heard other people describe disease as kind of a doorway. So it can either take you up or take you down. It'll make you bitter or you can get better. And that's I had that experience.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So what was the process that you went through your spiritual awakening?
I wanted to die. I really kind of gave up. So my symptoms were so bad, my waking hours were so bad that I didn't want to commit suicide, but I just didn't want to live anymore. And I talked to a lot of Lyme patients. They say those exact words.
Really?
So I talked to hundreds of patients now across the country, and a lot of them who are in their sickest, and a lot of them who are taking antibiotics, like multiple antibiotics, tend to get this way, and that's how I got. And there was one night in particular, I had my dark night of the soul, and I just prayed to be taken. And within a few days of that, a chain reaction of just some coincidences and strange events happened where I came across a healer who did a phone releasement with me. So basically talked to me on the phone and found I had a number of attachments, energetic and spiritual attachments. And as he was talking to me on the phone, my symptoms started going away, my vision changed, the depression that I had had the entire time on the illness evaporated.
That's amazing.
And then at the end of it, he said, "By the way, you're going to be doing this."
Oh,
And I said, "What?" Because I was still reacting to the fact that I couldn't believe I was just talking to this guy on the phone and I was feeling better and physically changing. Yeah. But then he said, and as everything cleared away, basically said, "You're, I want to stay in touch with you. You're one of the team. You're one of like 10 people in the world who can do this kind of thing, and let me help you do this."
Right.
that was a hard thing for me to digest at that very moment.
Right. It was a lot coming at you.
It was. So
Yeah,
it took
was,
me some
yeah.
time to kind of, ease into that. But then within 4 days of that, I met another person who basically kind of became my teacher into doing energy healing. Years before, I'd taken a Reiki class when I was still in the Philadelphia area, and that kind of introduced me to the idea of moving energy around and being a part of healing. And I've noticed that the other healers that I talk to, I joke and say, Reiki is the gateway modality. It kind of, whatever you gravitate towards, that's the first thing, that gets you
I've
started.
heard that as well.
Yeah. So that's basically, so that got me open to the idea of doing energy healing. But it was that experience that really kind of kicked it off with this energy healer over the phone. And then again, I met somebody who taught me how to do things. So, and she basically threw me in the water to teach me how to swim. Within a few weeks, we were doing healing sessions with other people, remotely. So
it sounds like you picked it up pretty quickly, and you were ready for something like that.
I guess so. It was so strange because I never had an inkling to do it.
That,
no,
yeah.
no. In fact, I was working a job in Philadelphia when I took the Reiki class, and my corporate boss got upset with me. He said, "Why are you taking that Reiki stuff? Are you going to like hang your shingle out and start a new career?" And I said, "No, that's crazy." Well, now I am doing that. Times have changed. So, so that's basically within years of that, my life started to change, but I was still having some lingering symptoms of Lyme disease. And then it got to a point where everything kind of plateaued for me, and I started getting frustrated, and another strong set of circumstances and coincidences happened when I was doing a psychic session with somebody who was doing a reading for me, and I had just seen a video of a healer in Brazil named John of God.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So I asked her about that, and basically she said you should go right away to complete your physical healing, and and for other things. I said all right, and it looked like a tough prospect. It was flying 10 hours to Brazil,
Right.
taking 2 weeks off from the job I was working, getting a visa. I mean, all these things needed to happen, and I just thought there's no way I'm going to do this, but let me at least look into it. Okay. So I made the phone call, and then the people who ran the tour basically said, yeah, this sounds difficult, but the universe has a way of opening up and basically allowing you to do this if you just kind of don't concentrate on the details and let go. And within about 6 weeks, she was right, because within 6 weeks I was there in Brazil.
That was really good advice.
It was fantastic
let
advice.
the universe take care of it.
Exactly, exactly. And that's really when my life took a big change. I went to Brazil, to this place that is basically a supernatural place on Earth. I've seen so many miraculous things happen, and not the least of which was my own transformation. So I just went down to this place, and for those who don't know who John of God is or what he does, he's a healer who he's called a trans medium. So he does a bit of meditation or whatever, but an entity, an actual spirit goes into his body. And on my website, I have footage that I've filmed where he has done surgeries on people, right out on stage, and the people don't really bleed, they don't flinch. He doesn't use anesthesia, so that's kind of like to get attention, I think, is to let people know something big is happening.
It's the flashy part of
It
what
is.
he does.
It's what draws attention, but the 99% of what he does is you go into a meditation room, he says some blessings, and just the sensations move all over you. So it's other entities in the room who are doing the healing. And after 2 weeks there, I physically changed. I mean, I came out, I looked different.
So 2 weeks you were there?
Yeah, I was there for 2 weeks, and it was dramatic. Every symptom went away, and no one touched me, and it was profound. So when I came back, people were just like, well, where did you go? What happened?
Like a miracle.
It was a miracle. And I was in a tour group of a lot of women with stage 4 cancer, and many, many of them walked away healed. So after that, I thought, wow, that was amazing. And the one thing they warned us when the last day we were there, they said, listen, you're going back to the land of heavy energy, so You know, you've got to try to maintain. You're in this completely supernatural place, so you're going back
It's
to
like you're pristine at this point.
yes,
Right.
you're very high energy. Now you're going back to this, like literally coming back down into Earth's orbit, and you're going back to the life that may have caused a lot of your problems, and some of the people, your job, you know, whatever it is.
Right,
So
right.
they said, rule number one, it's not your job to convince people that John of God is real and all this stuff is happening, because you're going to waste your energy on that. And number two, pay attention to the toxic things in your life, because you may need to make some changes to maintain this energy. And I didn't listen to them on any of the counts. I got into arguments with people, not many, but you know, and I kind of just went back into my life thinking, all right, I'm good.
Good.
Yeah, all set. But you know, I started feeling some symptoms about 6 months later, so I went back down again, and I ended up going down a couple of other times and started seeing people that I knew down there. And one woman said, "Oh, are you going to come down every year and get recharged?" And I just thought, that was a nice comment she made, but I hated it. I didn't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, wait a minute, this energy that's taking place down here is anywhere accessible. Why don't I just remove my blockages or ask for help with removing my blockages down there so that I can hold this love and light when I come home?
Yeah.
And that's
great.
kind of when my life took a pivot, and I started to be doing healing for other people. I started I started Ticked Off Music Fest.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about some of the foundations
Yeah.
and nonprofits you've got?
Yeah, so it was kind of a chain that happened. So first, I have a background in music and journalism and events planning. So my knee-jerk reaction was, let me throw some concerts to help people with Lyme disease.
Like as fundraiser?
Yes, exactly. So, and I was raising funds for other, Lyme foundations. But the first thing that happened after literally we opened the doors to the first concert, all these Lyme patients came in. Now I thought supporters of Lyme patients would come in and give us money, but it was 80% Lyme patients and in walkers and with oxygen tanks.
Not exactly what you had in mind.
Not at all, and they were crying, like, we need help.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, wow, look at the state of things with Lyme disease today. Like, people are going to a concert to try to get information about doctors and information about Lyme disease.
Yeah,
Maybe
that tells you a lot.
It told me a lot. So that's when I started the Ticked Off Foundation. So I created a patient fund that would basically help patients hands-on. So I started that in 2015. So we raised funds through tickedofffoundation.org. We have a grant application, and we get funds donated, and we help patients with their current treatment, or we help them with discounts on treatments there's some companies that work with us that give us discounts.
Okay.
Give our patients discounts, not us. So that's, because really I kind of took a step back after I saw all these patients coming in, and I thought, this is a broken system here. Why are these patients running? Everybody's going bankrupt from the treatment, because most Lyme treatment is not covered by insurance, the effective ones. So the treatments that are covered are antibiotics, but that doesn't help many patients. It helps some, but majority of the patients with chronic Lyme, it doesn't. So the herbal treatments and so forth, and ozone treatments and things like that are just not covered at all by insurance. And so these patients are going broke. I talk to patients who are living out of their cars, entire families getting kicked out of their homes. And so that's when I thought, if I were a billionaire, how would I help? And I thought I would start, basically a healthcare company or an insurance company to cover Lyme patients. And then I thought, I don't have to.
But you're not going to do that.
Yeah, I don't have to be a billionaire to raise funds to help people with their treatment. So I don't have to be an insurance company. I don't have to go to that extent.
So you did what you could do and what you were
Exactly.
already good at doing.
Yeah.
Bringing people together.
Right.
And for a really good cause.
Right. And then a few years into it, I started becoming, I learned everything with my own treatment, and I learned a lot. So I learned from the good things and some of the mistakes my other doctors did, and plus with the Reiki training, I do human tuning with tuning forks and all the energy healing. I opened a clinic, so now I actually help patients hands-on.
Oh, wow.
In Darien now.
Oh, so that's right. You have a clinic now in Darien.
In Darien, it's called the Lyme Recovery Clinic. It's on Post Road in Darien, and basically that's, I opened the doors last summer. So it's physical treatment with herbal remedies and CBD oils and things like that. But also, what I'm finding is a lot of patients, Lyme patients who don't respond to physical treatment. It's because they've got some sort of blockage, like an energy blockage.
It's all energy related.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I help with that as well.
That's great, Greg. So you're really up to a lot of things.
I am.
Yeah, I don't know how you have time to do all that.
Well, and then in the meantime, I wrote a book.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about your book?
Okay. So that kind of happened right after I opened my doors with the clinic. And I'd started writing this book back in 2007, actually when I was dying. So I literally, on February 12th, 2007, oh, yeah, here's the book. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it's called The Gratitude Curve, Using the Lessons of Chronic Illness to Reach Personal Empowerment. Okay, here it is.
Hold it up. Okay, good.
right.
So
Thank
I'm
you.
sure our audience would be interested in that. That's great. Is this available online?
It's
in
yeah,
stores?
Amazon.com, it's available. And also my website, gregkirk.com, so
Yeah.
GREGGKIRK.com. So I'd started this book, like I said, when I was at my worst, just because, I mean, really, I'm being funny about this. I didn't know if I was going to survive. So I started writing it as a journal of, here's what one patient is going through with Lyme. And it's not unlike hundreds of patients I've talked to. The lengthy diagnosis, the trouble with treatment, the running out of money, the wanting to give up, all that stuff, and then some sort of breakthrough, and that's what happened with me. So anyway, I started writing it, and then started in 2007. But then last year, some friends and my brothers actually were saying, "Why don't you finish that book?" And I just had it. I wrote it up to the last chapter, so I didn't have the last chapter, and I didn't feel good about it, and I kind of wondered what I should do, and then then it all came to me, and I finished it just a few months ago, actually in April.
So this is literally hot off the press.
It's off the press, yeah. These literally, they just came to my door just a few weeks ago.
That's awesome.
So,
Have you done any talks about it, or is this your first talk about it?
Well, I've done it. Yeah, no, I think this is actually my first real interview about the Gratitude Curve. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing some book signings and engagements here in the Connecticut area, but actually just in a few weeks we'll be doing some in my old stomping grounds. I used to live in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, so
nice.
I'm doing some book signings down there, Browse About Books, and also at a yoga studio. So I've got 3 events happening, and one is just a kind of a book signing, and the other one is at a yoga studio where I'll actually show some Kriya Yoga poses that I actually do as part of a daily practice to maintain my energy. I've noticed that, I mean, I think everybody needs it, but with Lyme disease, like I was just leaking energy every day, and I really needed to do something conscious. So a little bit of movement and a little bit of physical, energetic kind of containment. And I'll be doing some Kriya Yoga poses that I'll be demonstrating.
What about around here? Where are you going to?
I'm hoping to be doing some at. I don't have anything scheduled yet, but probably within the month.
Oh, good.
So.
Well, I'm sure you'll have it on your website when the
I
time comes.
will definitely have it on my website. Yeah.
So that would be an interesting. I'm sure a lot of people. I mean, as you said, Connecticut is the Lyme disease capital, isn't it?
It's not the most. It doesn't have the most cases anymore, but it's where it was discovered.
Oh, right.
And it kind of is ground zero. It was first discovered in
Lyme.
Lyme, Connecticut in 1975. Yeah. But that's kind of the crazy thing too. Like, you would think that here we are in Connecticut, where it's very well known that Lyme disease is here, and that was the last thing my doctors thought of. So, and that's not uncommon actually. And there's actually parts of the country where it's just not thought of at all. And you can walk in with a tick, like we've done events down in Florida where you can walk in with a bullseye rash and a tick, and the doctors will say, "No, we don't have Lyme here." And they just, won't treat you, and which can be a death sentence to some people.
Well, didn't you also start a whole website just about Lyme?
I have, yeah. It's called LymeKnowledge.com. Yeah. So, Yeah, right around the time, it was actually last year, or back in 2015 when I started the foundation. I thought, it's just that most Lyme patients are just lost at sea with all this stuff. So they don't know where to go, what to do, what to even make sense of things. Some patients have Lyme, they don't really know it, and they think they have a lot of people start treating with rheumatoid arthritis, and maybe they're in their 20s or 30s, and that's they don't have that. They have the symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis. It's the underlying issue is the Lyme. So I reached out to a couple of other Lyme patients who were like-minded with me, and we just kind of sat down and said, what's the website that you would have liked when you first got the illness? And that's what we created.
Good way to approach it.
Yeah, so it's got prevention, treatment, symptoms, that kind of thing. And then I write a blog called Lyme Woke. I used to write it every week, but I'm kind of doing it once a month now. And I write about topics that are a lot of Lyme. Again, I reach out to the Lyme patients.
I bet you have a lot of followers.
Yeah, and it's gotten very popular lately. So things like stevia. Did you know that stevia actually kills all forms of the Lyme bacteria? Which it's a sweetener, that you may have put in your coffee.
So
it actually kills. Yeah, so things like that, and other side treatments that people things alternatives to antibiotics is really kind of the driving force on just making people aware. You can take antibiotics, but there's things that are much less damaging on your body that are restorative for your body while also lowering the pathogen load of the Lyme and the co-infections.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's good. There's a lot of people out there that I'm sure you've helped, and
it's become the fastest growing infectious disease in the country. It's growing 6 times faster than HIV, and it's like 4 times as many patients are diagnosed with Lyme disease every year than women with breast cancer. So it's a pandemic.
What about information to the medical community? Have you focused on that, or are other people doing that?
Well, I've been a part of some Lyme conventions where we invite doctors. So, there's several really great doctors, some in the area and some kind of in the general region, who are very well known and get Lyme disease.
So, do they specialize in it?
They do. Yeah. So there's some Lyme specialists.
Demand for it.
There is, and and they write books and they have their own kind of protocols and everything. But unfortunately, there's a whole slew of doctors that some don't even believe chronic Lyme even exists. They believe that once you've taken 2 weeks of antibiotics, you're good, and those people are doing a great disservice to their patients. Because I end up with those patients. Those patients end up coming to me later, still with issues, and they're looking for answers.
So a lot of people do find your website and your clinic.
Yeah.
But they have to live in Connecticut.
No, we help. For the clinic, yes.
Right.
But I also do remote. I do things. So I have patients all around the country.
Okay.
So I do phone and Skype sessions, and I sell products on my website, and we get treatment shipped to them because there's a lot of people who are just homebound, bedbound even, who find out through. That's the great thing about the internet. You can be in your bed and kind of travel the world and find out the best information. That's and they true. Eventually end up, coming to me and other people that I know, and we help them out.
So you're really tops in the field right now.
Yeah.
Are you going to have another of your ticked off concerts anytime soon?
We don't have anything scheduled yet. We tend to do them around May, which is Lyme Disease Awareness Month.
Oh, I see.
So we'll probably do some more around then. And we do. The foundation is partnering with a number of other people. We have a big announcement we want to make next year. We're working on a big Lyme conference with some other area Lyme groups. So we're really, maybe we can come back.
Yeah, you have to come back on the show and tell us about it. Well, and you also partner with this recycling.
Thank you for bringing that up.
I actually joined that.
Did you?
Yes,
awesome.
I did.
Great for you.
I did.
Yeah. So one of the issues with the foundation is we always need donations. So we have a lot of Lyme patients and they don't have money, but so they need to be the recipients, but we need money. Right. So I partnered with a young Lyme patient out of Pennsylvania who came to me a while ago, and she actually went around to all the other Lyme groups and said, hey, I have this thing where there's a recycling program that if you basically send certain types of recycling, and this is non-traditional recycling, so this is stuff that you might put in your curbside recycling, but it won't actually, it'll get sent to the incinerator or the landfill. A lot of people don't know that. So it's specific, non-traditional recycling like makeup cases, or now we're accepting vitamin and supplement bottles.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Right.
And so
I have a lot of those.
right, yeah, Lyme patients have, they generate 10 pounds a month probably. So the Lyme patients can actually generate funds by collecting their supplement bottles. We give them a free shipping, they just need to put them in a box. That's all the work they need to do. And we send them a free shipping bill, and they take it to Staples or UPS. It ships out for free, and based upon the weight, TerraCycle, which is our partner, sends us, in some cases it's $1 per pound. And so this is starting to add up. It definitely does, and we get checks, every 6 months. So it's a fantastic, it doesn't cost anybody anything. It's saving the planet because it's non-traditional, recycling.
Yeah, I mean,
and
aren't
funding Lyme
toothbrushes in there?
Toothbrushes, yes. Deodorant bottles, those kind of things.
Yeah. I think it's great. I don't think I've gotten to the minimum pounds yet, but I'm
well, with the
on
supplements, it won't take long.
Yeah, that's true. Some of them are glass, some of them are plastic.
Right, yeah, the glass stuff's pretty heavy.
And is this information also on your website?
It is. It's on the foundation website, so ticked off foundation.org/recycle for Lyme.
And everything that you do, though, they can access it from your website?
Yeah, you can just, the easiest thing is to go to my website at gregkirk.com.
Okay. And we're going to do one more plug for your book, which
Thank you.
is The Gratitude Curve. And I do have a copy of it, and I haven't actually read it yet, but I'm going to share it. Actually, a friend of mine's son was recently diagnosed with Lyme disease,
okay.
so I think that would be helpful for him. So we'll look for that when you come back to do your book talks. And
Cool.
I really appreciate having you on the show
Thank
today.
you so much. I really
I
appreciate
think our
it.
audience really learned a lot. This is a great worthy cause. So
Thank
we're going
you.
to show your graphic on the screen now with your website
Okay.
and your contact info. So thanks again for coming.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. All right. Take care.